There is the All-Star Open, Chop, for the drivers not already qualified for the All-Star race. You can bet the Open. It is a 100-lap race with one extra set of tires. No rules about when you use a set of tires. Put them on whenever you want. Lap 40, there's going to be a yellow. We know that. And they're going to take the top two. That's important now. Listen, for the listeners, top two. So if your guy's running second with 4 or 5 to go, he's not going to risk a move for the win because second puts you into the big show. Top two in a fan vote. So let's talk about just the Open, Russ. Just the Open, Professor, because we have open numbers. And I think it allows us to talk about some drivers we don't normally talk about because, as you can imagine, the monster names are all in the big show. So let's talk about Open. Here we go. As I click over, Josh Berry, a heavy favorite at plus 375, not because he has experience, as much may think, at North Wilkesboro. We asked him. He has none, but because he's driving a Hendrick car, and Hendrick continues to put 4 cars in the All-Star race time and time and time again. Gibbs is second at 400, Preece 450, Almirola 450 or 500. The challenge is, like I said, second will be good enough for these guys. So betting the win can be very dangerous. So we also pulled some top 3 odds. Everyone's plus money top 3, which is a little interesting. Berry's plus 135, Gibbs plus 140, Preece 160, Almirola 160, and so on and so on. So, Professor, I know you don't have your predicting model, but just you watch all these races. You look at all these stats. Who jumps off the sheet at the Open? Who, without a model, give me the old, let's go back old school. No computer model. Let's go redneck professor model. When you look at the names, you know we're going to North Wilkesboro. Who do you think has a chance? Who should we be on?
Well, of course, Josh Berry, like you talked about, in Hendrick equipment. He's a short track guy, came from short tracks. This lines up for him, of course, in my opinion. Then I think you have to look at Ryan Preece next. What he did at Martinsville was so impressive when he led with the first 130 laps of that race. And then Ty Gibbs with JGR equipment. I expect him to be good too, and he's been good on this type of track. Maybe not in the Cup Series, but this is more like I see this as more as like an Xfinity field, right? Like, so with all the big names out of there, Gibbs is the next guy in line.
So how about this, Chop? Let's talk numbers for a minute. Forget names. I'm going to take Bilicki, Yaley, Ty Dillon, and Ryan Newman solidly out of the chance to run in the top 3. Last year, I would have said LaJoy, but he's been good enough at times. Bad on the short tracks, though. So I could even argue maybe a LaJoy out on the top 3.
He's
now you're down to
he's lobbying for that fan vote hard too. So
he's lobbying.
I know something.
Oh, that's great info. So now follow me here, guys. Right, so that's 16 drivers. I just eliminated 5. Now you have 11 guys for the top 3. I mean, that's really what you're talking about. Forget winning for a minute. Just talk about 11 guys for the top 3. Yeah. And I mark my words. Who do I think is going to run good? Professor just said it. Those are going to be your fast cars. But if you F up when you put that last set of tires on, or maybe you don't mess it up. Maybe someone else just gets dumbass lucky. Maybe they save their last set of tires and they get a 15 to go yellow. It'll be lights out, dog. Brand new tires at North Wilkesboro. You're going to be in friggin' turbo versus everyone else. You're going to drive right through a very small field. So you do get an overtime restart, one shot at it. So let's talk about these names who are having good years, Professor, and it's purely a numbers match. Ready? Gilliland, 500 for a top 3, 5 times your money. Burton, after a monster run at Darlington, 3.5 times. Haley, 4.25. Smith at 500. Gregson, 340. McDowell, 425. I mean, that's a group of guys with multiples on your money. If you took 3 of them, you need 1 to cash to break even. So first, let's ask the gambler. Chop, is that, because listen, you're going to have something to go during the middle of the day. You're going to be bored. You're going to be firing away. So, what's your approach to this race? You just try to hit the winner and move on? You try to pick some mid-tier guys for a top 3, cheer them on? What do you want to do?
Man, it's tough. I don't know. I think it's just going to be a wreck fest at the end, right? I mean, I think it's a total crapshoot. I think it feels like a super speedway in a sense that it's going to be all or nothing. These guys trying to get in. There's no cost if they don't. So you get down to those last couple laps, I think it's just going to be melee. So it's hard to, I don't know. So my sense is I think I'm going to take a few of those big names. If you're getting plus money at top 3, throw those in there to have something to watch. I don't know. A very light week, I think, all in all.
I think that's a good way to do it. I mean, I like I think what's Gilliland's short track numbers, Professor? Because Gilliland's had a pretty good year, better than I thought he should run in that car. But don't let me steer away. Because I'm going to look at it like a short track because it is. I don't know how else to look. It's an old worn out short track. Good luck.
Yeah, well, he's been top 15 in 2 of the last 3, but you gotta imagine that top 15 is like a top 3 when you take out all the good guys, right?
So I like Gilliland at plus 500 for a top 3. Now, listen, I'm not saying it's a hammer. I'm not saying, but yeah, throw a little unit on it, have a good time. I like
what's Corey's number
700
for top 3?
Yeah.
That might be worth a little something.
And then it comes down
Gibbs?
to Gibbs is plus 140, big favorite.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Do you take Berry or Gibbs to win or Preece? And because my point is back to my point, second's good enough. That makes us very dangerous. Because, you can have Gibbs with a better car running Berry down with 5 to go. And if he's got 20 car lengths to third, guess where he's going to go? He's going to follow him across start finish line in second. And everyone's going to cheer except for you, the better, with the car that said you needed him to win. You're sad, team's good. Chop, what do we talk about a lot in football? We love when the coach and our financial interests are aligned. We don't like when you get disenfranchised is never good. So for that reason, I probably am avoiding All-Star Open winner altogether because they don't need to win. So my strategy on this, we're going to move this right along and bet some top 3s. I don't hate Berry, Gibbs top 3. They'd have to wreck to not be in the top 3. Those guys are going to be fast as can be. And then if you wanted to put so you take a Berry, Gibbs, Preece top 3, and then you take a Burton something, I think you could get 4 or 5 names for the top 3, and hopefully you get a multiplier. All right, well, let's move to the big show then. 200 laps, 3 sets of tires, but a little bit of rules. You can only use 1 set after the halfway break, which means you use a set in the middle, probably a set at halfway. And when you put that last set on can make a big difference, just like in the Open. I don't know how you handicap it, but let's just talk about who's the favorite. So Larson's won the last couple short tracks. He's your favorite at 7-1. He has won the All-Star race a couple times. So, never bad to bet against Larson, a little bit of checkers or wreckers type thing.
How do they set do they have qualifying for this?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So what they do, we should have talked about that in the Open. So the Open is purely off a pit stop. That's
Correct.
it. Huh? Your pit stop is how you line up. You do a pit stop on Friday night. That's why you like Berry even more. That's one reason why. What's the Sevens pit crew? They seem to have one of the better pit crews this year as well.
They're better this year for sure.
So my point, Chop, is a pit stop on Friday afternoon, evening sets the lineup for the Open. A pit stop sets the lineup for the heat races, for the All-Star race. So you still got around a 60-lap heat. So I'm putting less value on the pit stop because I think there's enough racing for it to kind of blend out over time. I think a guy like Keselowski could be dangerous. Never won the All-Star race. So I think he's going to go there and be the fastest. Look, I don't. But, could he, he's a clever driver, right? Is he man enough to say, listen, guys, we don't have the car today, bud. We just don't have it. We don't have to worry about running okay. There's no points. Brad's the type of guy, Logano's crew chief's the type of guy to say, you know what? How are we going to win with the worst car? Or not the worst car, it's a bad line. How are we going to win with a car that we don't think is capable of winning? Do something different. Don't pit. Save that set of tires. Get a lucky yellow at the end of the race or something. So for that reason, back to your original statement, I think this is a low action week. I don't think you can handicap it. I think, listen, who do I think win the All-Star race legitimately? Larson, Byron, Harvick, Bell, Truex, Chastain, Elliott, Hamlin, Kyle Busch. Have you heard a name you don't think could win, Professor? Because I think any of them could win.
Yeah,
no, I think they can all win.
I'd like to see a bet on who's going to take Chastain out. You could put 6 or 7 guys up there and just see who's the guy that takes him out, because I don't think he has a chance. This is their one chance to really give him a shot.
So I hear you, but if I am any of those other teams' crew chiefs, don't waste your shot here. This don't hurt.
Yeah, true.
I guess don't hurt. There's no points.
It doesn't hurt them though if they get caught up in it.
Now that's a great point. You're not wrong, but listen, I'm the guy that I am rude. But I'm the guy that's sitting in the bushes and waiting until the second round of the playoffs. And I'm going to ship you when it hurts the most. Be like, oh, my bad. Sorry. Oh,
Got
good
loose.
India. Oh, yeah. Ooh, man, just got loose.